students since
Yeah.
about 2 o'clock.
So just the 5 o'clock hour is usually just really easy questions are allowed. First, we'll start off by looking at First Amendment. It says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. Good. We're known for the burning of the Quran, the International Judge of Quran Day. We're noted for the fact that we speak out against Sharia law, against any type of foreign law. Our country should be governed only through the Constitution and not through any type of foreign law. I believe the First Amendment already provides for that. It says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. So if we were to institute in America Sharia law in any form, which of course we have already done to a certain degree, Sharia law has been applied in 50 different cases in 23 different states around America. But if we were to do that and continue to do that, we are of course acting against the First Amendment. Because the First Amendment says that we shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. Sharia law is directly connected, of course, to Islam, and that would be the respecting of establishment of a religion. Or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press. I believe that these are two aspects that right now are in danger. I spent 30 years in Europe. I was there as a missionary. I have been in around 25 different countries. I have been in Islamic countries. I believe around the world, definitely freedom of speech is being attacked and being limited. They limit freedom of speech by labeling it. Anything that you do not like, anything that does not fit into our society at this time, does not fit into our liberal, political correct thinking, is of course automatically labeled as hate speech. That is one of the ways that our society tries to curb freedom of speech. So definitely freedom of speech is definitely under attack. And what you have to do, of course, is not, you have to try to ignore the label. So you see, labels are easy. And what you have to try to look at is the context or the contents. What is actually being said? Not the label that is being put on it. Like us, hate speech. We at no time promoted any type of hate concerning Muslims or concerning any other group in the United States of America. We are against the radical element of Islam. We are against Sharia law. We are against everything that is outside of the Constitution of the United States. We had at no time promoted hate in those aspects. Freedom of speech is definitely under attack, and freedom of the press. Freedom of press is definitely under attack because the press, if you watch the press is not doing, I believe, totally its job. The press's job is to give us information. It is not to tell us what to believe and what to think. Labeling does that. The freedom of the press is to tell us, to present to us the information and the facts, and out of that we decide whether or not we feel the person is right or wrong, or whether or not we can adapt particular beliefs. I believe that the press is definitely at this particular time under attack, and that we need to somehow come back to a freedom of the press and come back to a press information that is not gossip orientated. So I think definitely at this particular time, these two aspects, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, is definitely under attack. Or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Definitely the peaceable aspect. If you followed any of our rallies as far as we are concerned are very peaceful. But the people who come there, they do not respect the First Amendment, and they do not allow us to give our opinion, to express our concerns. And actually in America, you may not realize it at this particular time, but having been out of America for 30 years and coming back to America, we have very many things to be concerned about. The condition of our country has definitely fallen. Our moral and economical condition of our country are almost beyond repair. when we look at just the economical condition of the country, when we look at our debt crisis, when we look at our problem that we have with the illegal aliens, when we look at the different issues within America, we are almost beyond repair. That is why at this particular time it is very, very important as we as the American people begin to look at that, begin to research that, and begin to speak out. That is what this particular class and this time is about, freedom of speech. And we need to have freedom of speech without fear of violence. That, of course, we have experienced personally ourselves. As we begin to speak out, and you will learn that as long as you stay within a certain realm, the realm that is accepted, the realm right now that is accepted, if you will stay within that particular realm, you will have no problems. But if you speak out beyond that realm, if you address issues that are today no longer popular, address issues that are considered to be a little bit far out or radical, you will automatically be met with very much violence, fear, and resistance. But the First Amendment, we need to protect that right, that we have the ability to speak out. Because as already mentioned, what good is the First Amendment? What good is our right to speak out and express our opinions if they're only the opinions that everyone else agrees upon? When did anything great ever come out of that? When did anything great ever come out of just agreeing with the status quo? Nothing was ever invented that was great until they went over the borders. There was no great advancements in freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom to vote, civil rights, human rights. None of these advancements ever took place until people began to speak out of the box. Until they actually said things that made people angry. Now, people have accused us of violence. So you burn the Quran. Because you burned the Quran, violence broke out. Because you burned the Quran, people were killed. Maybe you shouldn't have burned the Quran. Is that the reason not to do something? Because something might happen? Is that the reason to pull back? Or we are to blame? Because violence broke out because we exercised our right? Civil rights movement. I guess Martin Luther King was wrong, huh? Because what he did at that time was not the status quo. It was not what everybody agreed with. He must have been wrong. What he actually did caused many people, including himself. Just like we have over 400 death threats. We have a reward on our life of $2.4 million. So I guess what he did caused violence, didn't it? Did any people not get killed because of that? So is he to blame? No, because you have to stand up for what you believe in. Stand up for what is right. If someone else commits a violent act, that does not make him, that does not make us, that does not make the person who is exercising his individual right to freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of thought. What is freedom of speech? Freedom of speech is only nothing more than freedom of thought. If we limit freedom of speech, are we going to limit freedom of thought? For freedom of speech is only the fact that we have now spoken out, or we're actually thinking. Is that where we're coming to? We're going to just try to limit freedom of speech, qualify it, define it, limit it, and then we move on to freedom of thought. I spent 30 years in Germany as a missionary. I saw all of the concentration camps. As the people were being taken into the concentration camps and being killed, one of the main themes that they had was the Gedanken frei. Die Gedanken sind frei. That means the thoughts are free. The thoughts you cannot kill. You can kill my body, burn my body, but you can't stop my thoughts. So how far do we go when we live freedom of speech? Do we then limit freedom of thought? We should be able to do that without, You don't have to agree with it without threats of violence, without people losing their job. We have many people come to us. They work for major companies. They said, we agree with this, we agree with this, we agree with this, but we can't say anything. We live in America, the United States of America, greatest country in the world. Even with all the problems we have, no doubt about it. I lived 30 years in Europe. No doubt about it. But they cannot express their own thought, because if they do, their company will fire them. But that's where we're at. They will be fired if they express their own thoughts and freedom, even on their own time. Not on company time. On their own time, they will be fired. That is a condition that we are in. That is a condition that we are moving towards. Freedom of speech should be what it is. It should be free without labeling. Since our Dearborn incident, probably are somewhat familiar with it. We were banned from demonstrating in front of the Islamic Center. All we wanted to do was demonstrate against jihad and Sharia. Now, how can anybody be against that? We surely understand the term jihad, holy war, killing people. Is anybody here for holy war and killing people? I guess not. So why could we not demonstrate? Anybody here want to adapt Sharia law into America? We like stoning people, hanging homosexuals, stoning adultery. No, we don't want that. So why could we not do it? We were banned. We're banned from exercising our constitutional rights and thrown into jail. It didn't happen to you, so you do not care. We're thrown into jail. Why? We were thrown into jail for something that might happen that someone else might do, because we refused to pay a peace bond. The peace bond is nothing more than just paying for freedom of speech. That's all it is. So something might happen because of what you say. Somebody else might do something, and because of that, if you want to exercise your freedom of speech, you must pay me. Nothing more than paying for freedom of speech. Thrown into jail. We'd still be there today if we hadn't paid the peace bond. We could get 3 years in jail. We would still be there today. Why? We were thrown into jail for something. We had not left the courtroom. We were thrown into jail for something someone else might do. And because of that, we were put into jail. You understand that? Because of something, because not what we would do, not even what we had done nothing. Not what we would do, not what we have done, but because of what someone else might do in reaction to what we might say, we were thrown into jail. In America. That is actually how far we have come. You know, if we don't exercise our freedom of speech, it won't be you all that pay the price. It won't be me. I'll be long dead and gone. But it'll be you, your kids, your grandkids, their rights, their freedoms, will simply be taken away from them because they dare to express an opinion that is not the popular opinion of today. But whether the things that we say, the things that we speak out against, whether it be the radical element of Islam, Sharia, homosexuality, abortion, same-sex marriage, it is our right. And we need to fight for that right. Because if we lose that right, if I lose my right, then of course you will lose yours. Because sooner or later, no matter how nice of a guy you are, you'll say something someone else doesn't like. And you'll say something that offends someone else. You'll say something that makes someone else mad. And because of that, you cannot say it anymore. So we're in serious condition. And it takes sometimes more than homework, school, and textbooks. Sometimes you have to do something. Sometimes you have to stand up, you have to march, you have to speak out, you have to get involved, you have to do something. It's not enough to have 1,000 friends on Facebook. It's not enough to Twitter. Sometimes you actually have to do something. You have to stand up and do something. I don't know about this generation. But my generation, at least, we wanted to do something. I think most of what we did was probably wrong, but at least we did something. And we have to exercise our freedom of speech. All right. I wasn't supposed to talk very much, so we give you some chance to ask some really easy, nice questions.
Sure. I'm sure you're used to it.